Now to Hill with 5 on the shot clock. Hill stripped out of his hands. LeBron on the run. Goes inside George. Layup miss. Follow up. Two-hand jam. Dwayne Wade and Miami by 5. And LeBron James has come to play the last few minutes. An 8-0 Miami run.
The day after. Remember that TV show? It feels a little bit like it today. We'll break down what this number 5 pick means to the Utah Jazz. We'll look at the NBA playoffs. And the world of the NBA is like exploding around me. I haven't been able to start the show because of it. It's all crazy. It's all tip-off. Pow, 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 pow. How are you? Oh, I know the answer to that question. You're not good. 5th pick for the Utah Jazz. This is why that coin flip with Boston was mammoth. And it's interesting, there has not been a equal proportion of reaction to that big coin flip win to the bad day of the lottery yesterday. I guess people just didn't get it at the time. That coin flip win was enormous. I tried to explain as much. Yesterday's results of the lottery are what we should have expected. Doesn't necessarily make it suck any less, but it's what we should have expected. As I tweeted yesterday, people that were like jumping off cliffs and pissed off and losing it over this are the same people who go put money on roulette, lose, and then can't understand why. Or go play the slot machines and can't figure out why they didn't win. Because the numbers say you weren't going to. The numbers said we were going to end up with a 5th pick pretty dramatically, frankly. Could you hope? Could you wish? Could you desire? Could you try to rub lucky stones together? Yeah, absolutely. But when it happened, the numbers said we were getting 5th. We got 5th. So what's the impact? It's not great. This is a top 3 draft, possibly a top 4 draft, and then it is a group of athletes that are insanely talented with weaknesses. Now, does that mean that Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, Jabari Parker, and Dante Exum don't have weaknesses? No. But let's not kid ourselves that for a long time this was called a top 4 draft, and there was a reason. Andrew Wiggins is an elite, exceptional, incredible talent. Jabari Parker has been a star since he was on Sports Illustrated at 16 years old. Joel Embiid has people ecstatic about his potential, but frankly, from what I hear, he still is not cleared for contact. Joel Embiid's 30 days away from a draft, not cleared for contact. If that story, Steve Kyler tweeted that out, if that's true, he might be sitting at 5, and then we got to make a decision. Not clear. Woo, that's nerve-wracking. And then there's Dante Exum, who we're all in love with because we haven't seen him. All right, so those 4 are the guys. We're sitting 1 spot out of it. Is that how the draft goes? I think there's a decent chance that one of those 4 gets to 5. Marcus Smart, Vonleh, Julius Randle, Aaron Gordon. I think that's probably, am I forgetting anyone? Are special enough that someone may jump up and grab them. Embiid's back could be questionable enough. I could easily see if Embiid's back is cleared, Cleveland decides we don't really need, they need Embiid. Milwaukee goes Wiggins. Philly goes Parker. Does Orlando Exum? Probably. What happens if we flip that around? Cleveland takes Wiggins. Milwaukee takes Parker. Philadelphia says, we want Exum. Orlando says, we want a point guard, Marcus Smart, Joel Embiid. Could happen. Would it be nice for Exum to slide? Sure. Are the guys we're getting at 5 worth nothing? Absolutely not. In fact, with good scouting and good work by Dennis, we get the right guy, could be fabulous. Without having done detailed work, I love Aaron Gordon. I've been open about it. I love him. I don't know position he plays. I don't know if he ever can shoot. 44% of free throw line's really disconcerting. The athleticism is unreal. The defensive possibilities, insane. The immediate impact where he comes off your bench behind your other guys and learns the game at 19 years old before he becomes awesome. College freshman numbers at Arizona, not that different than college freshman numbers for Blake Griffin at Oklahoma, played on a much better team with much more talent at Arizona than Blake Griffin did at Oklahoma. Arizona did not put Aaron Gordon in pick and roll. Arizona did not post up Aaron Gordon. Does it matter that you're a half-inch short as a power forward when you can out-jump every single one of them? That's Dennis Lindsey's job. That's Justin Zanuck's job. That's Walt Perrin's job. Marcus Smart. Kind of love him. Ass-kicking, beep-diddy-beep. And boy, do we ever need that. The Oklahoma City Thunder had 99 technicals. We had 1. Did we even have 1? I kind of made that up because I'm assuming Richard Jefferson got one somewhere along the line because he makes $15 million and decided he didn't care about a few $1,000s. Trey Burke might be a leader, but right now, come on, let's be honest. We need someone who's going to kick your ass, right? That's Marcus Smart. There's no bigger ass kicker in this whole draft than Marcus Smart. You can use the guy in the crowd as an example of good or bad if you want to. But I'm just going to take the way he carried that team to the tournament after losing 8 in a row in the middle of the year. I'm going to take it the way that he D'd up on Andrew Wiggins when I watched the Kansas-Oklahoma City tape. I'm going to take it as the way he battles and goes to the rim at an alarming rate. Can't shoot. Didn't play point guard until his freshman year at Oklahoma State. Was a high school 6'4" body who was played the center. Now you're trying to ask him to play point guard. Did a pretty good job. Doesn't see the floor great. I have no idea what that sound is, but I'm gonna have to find it. Still don't know. I was on a roll too before that little sound came in right there. Marcus Smart can't shoot. Marcus Smart is Tyreek Evans as a shrinky dink. Oh, it's a little unnerving. Julius Randle. He's going to score in this league. He's got pretty good touch. He's going to start hitting from 18 feet, and then you got to come out on him, and then he's going to drive by you, and he's going to score in this league. And his body's big, and he's going to be able to take it. And he led a young Kentucky team, seemingly the leader of that team, to the final game. He could join in our list of players that lost their final college game in the final college game of the year. Something to it. It's a great kid. Unbelievable personality. Do we need another big? Well, neither of our bigs can score consistently, or is he Cantor recreated? That's what Dennis Lindsey's going to have to figure out. That's what Walt Perrin's going to have to figure out. Noah Vonleh, 18 years old, unreal body. Shot a few threes last year, about 33 of them, I think. He hit 17. He's got the skill. Doesn't have a huge frame. Probably going to be able to score in this league. Could be a little bit better of a pick and roll guy instead of a pick and pop guy. Most often comparison, Chris Bosh. Oh, wait. I get it. Probably not ready. Yeah, he's 18. But I get Chris Bosh, 20 points a game. Great rebounder. Grabbed about 25% of Indiana's rebounds. But he's a little thin. He's a little young. How does he match with Favors and Cantor? That's Dennis Lindsey's job. That's Walt Perrin's job. That's Justin Zanuck's job. Dario Saric. European 6'10", stretch 4, carried his team to the Adriatic League Championship. Awesome shooter, great basketball IQ, nice passer, good ball mover, decent handle. Little thin, not a great defender, not an elite athlete. You know what I'm going to say. That's Dennis's job. That's the beauty of this. This is going to be a really interesting 35 days of looking at players, breaking them down, figuring out what they want. I could explain to you why we should take Sark. I could explain to you why we should take Smart. I could explain to you why we should take Gordon. Probably could explain Julius Randle. I'm a little slower on that one. I need to watch Randle. I need to watch them all. We all do, really. Or is Dante Exum going to slide? Or as I've been saying all week long, when you watch these playoffs, it's two guys on the corner. You better have a ball handler that can get to the rim. I mean, get to the rim. Trey can't do that. Not like that. Marcus Smart? Why not? Russell Westbrook couldn't shoot. What is going on? I have no idea. Someone sabotaging this again? Everybody's on mute that's in the bottom. You guys are hearing that, right? I'm assuming in the chat. All right. I have no idea where that's coming from. Chrome usually tells you. I might have so many things open in my that I have no idea where it's coming from. It's my fault. Anyway, that's where we are. It's not great. I'm not about to tell you it's great. Great would have been 1. Great would have been 2. Great would have been 3. Expected? Yes. Disappointing? Sure, I guess. But it's going to be pretty interesting. All right, let's address some of the other issues. Can we move up? Honestly, I doubt it. I think getting to 1, 2, 3, or 4 is going to be tough. However, let's say we love Dante Exum. If we love Dante Exum, could we give Orlando, they need players, someone on our roster and go get Exum? Possible. How far does Ennis get you with 5? It's a hell of a package. How far does Alec get you with 5? How far does 23 get you with 5? Probably nowhere. Probably nowhere. Are we trading next year's number 1? If we believe Andrew Wiggins is a superstar, sure. But it better be for that pick. And we better think we're going to be good pretty fast because you don't give up another lottery pick. It's pretty interesting. Pretty darn interesting stuff. Again, is it as good as it could have been? No. Should we jump off a cliff? No. The question is, are we getting just another player or are we getting a star? We need a star. I don't know if at 5 we're getting a star. At 1 or 3, Parker or Wiggins, I think you're getting a star. I haven't seen Exum enough to know. I think Aaron Gordon's got in my opinion, I think Gordon and Smart have star potential. If either of them figure out how to shoot, they become truly awesome. It's interesting times. Could it be better? Yep. Shouldn't have been surprised, though. That coin flip that we didn't react to, huge. Huge. I still think we could probably talk to Orlando. Might be able to get to Orlando. Depends, hey, does Orlando have a guy they love? Does Orlando love Exum? Does somebody love? I think there's a chance someone's going to love Marcus Smart or love Aaron Gordon. I could see as a GM talking myself into Aaron Gordon. If I suddenly think Aaron Gordon can shoot, let me have him. Handle insane, vision insane, athleticism elite. Marcus Smart, if I believe he can shoot, he's an elite rebounder. He's an elite size. He's an elite leader. That's what you need. You need elite. Look at our guys. Where are we elite? Where's Alec elite? Where's Gordon elite? Where's Derek elite? Where's Ennis elite? We want elite. Got to have it. Can we find it? It's going to be a hell of a 30 days to figure out. One of the reasons we're somewhat delayed today is because of what's going on in Memphis. Dave Yeager is now interviewing for the Minnesota job. He's going to take the Minnesota job. Dave Yeager's leaving Memphis and going to Minnesota. If he everyone in the world knows that Flip Saunders is dying for him. Minnesota evidently wants to get rid of him. I can't figure it out. Or Memphis does. I can't figure it out. So Yeager's going to take the Minnesota job. Is there a chance Memphis is going to rehire Lionel Hollins? Cleveland with the number one pick, where they're going, I expect something in the sort of George Karl, Lionel Hollins, Mark Jackson. Does Mark Jackson end up in Memphis? Jazz coaching situation, still the process is happening. We did not get helped yesterday. Would have we got a different coach had we got 1 through 3? I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure. Maybe. Let's go with that. I'm not sure, but I kind of doubt it. But let's go with maybe. But that's not happening. I still think from everything that I've seen and all the research I've done that our next head coach will have been a head coach somewhere. Is it college, Tony Bennett, Quinn Snyder? Is it D-League, Quinn Snyder, Nick Nurse, Nate Tibbetts, who we profiled yesterday? Who is it? Dave Blatt, European? I don't think it's Messina. That seems to have really cooled. I don't think it's Dave Blatt either, frankly. I don't know. But I think that's where we're going, and that's the next step. What a 30, 50 days we have. New coach, new pit players, major draft position. The other thing I'm looking at all these mock drafts, by the way, I love 15 through 20. I don't know how we get from 23 to 15 through 20, but I love 15 through 20. And I don't know how we get there, but I think you've got to – I like and I need to watch them all more. And I don't know how I'm going to possibly watch all of them. But I like, if you look at 15 through 20 on, I think, Chad Ford's big board, which probably is as good as any, if not better. You have Hood, who I'm pretty intrigued by. You have Adrian Payne's interesting. I don't love him because I don't love the older players. Generally, that turns out to be right. You have P.J. Harrison, who I think is interesting. You have Clefani Early, who I think is interesting. You have Rodney Hood, and you have Elfrid Payton. All 16 through 20, 17 through 20. You know, the wild card in all this is Gordon, right? If you knew what you're doing with Gordon Hayward, if you were keeping Gordon Hayward or Gordon Hayward was leaving, it might help you make your decision a little bit. If you know you're losing Gordon, do you go Aaron Gordon? Because he then plays the 3, a la Karolinko. You better find some guys who can shoot. We're missing shooting. No question on that. Might be able to acquire. What else do I got for you today? I think that's probably, I wasn't going to do a film study today. That's probably it. Let me go to the questions. Ryan Dangerfield, should we draft Smart if we already have Alec? If we did, we would possibly lead the league in free throw attempts. I'm a believer in multiple pick and rolls. I'm believing high pick and roll, attack the basket. And Alec is not very good at that. Alec's free throw rate went down as the year went on, which was a little discouraging. Zach, Marcus Smart, I think, is better at getting straight to the basket. You got to have it. You got to have it. Same time, we got to find some shooting. Really got to find some shooting. And I would say, drafting Marcus Smart would make things pretty interesting on Trey Burke. There's no question. I'm not sure how that would go over. But you could play a 3-guard lineup of Alec. Start playing a 3-4 guard lineup of Alec, Trey, Marcus Smart, if Gordon's coming back, Gordon Hayward, and play those 4 in some capacity with some of them playing the 3, and got a lot of ball handlers, a lot of things you can do offensively, pretty creative stuff. I mean, you can probably start playing the Atlanta style 4 out, 1 in, but just do it with penetration and get to the rim and shoot very few threes because we don't have good shooters. Let's go to Zach Lancaster's question. Given the likelihood the Jazz will draft a player at 5 that duplicates a position on our roster already copied by a younger, higher pick, the Jazz need to move to Trey and its phase before draft night and maximize the value. I think I think what you're touching on, I think, is real. But that was probably real no matter where we ended up in the draft. We have 5 players. They all play 5 positions. We're drafting a new one. This will be our new flavor of the month. We'll like it more than our old ones. But I think, and so I do think that you are touching on a real issue. I think at some point here, asset accumulation moves into moving those assets for new players that maybe fit better. I think we're beginning to walk down the road where you begin to start to move some of these guys. Now the question is, who do you have enough guts to move? Who do you believe, who do you suddenly believe in that you're willing to trade? Are you willing to trade Alec Burks? Do you know what he's going to be? Are you willing to trade Enes Kanter? Are you willing to trade Derek Favors? I think those are all very difficult decisions. Enes really might be 2010 in this league. Enes also may never turn out to be good enough defensively for you to win. There's a school of thought that finding elite level defenders as big men is very difficult, but you simply can't have bad ones. Okay, you probably are not getting Roy Hibbert, but you cannot get a bad one. You cannot survive with a bad defensive big. You know what a huge decision this organization has to make? Were we bad defensively, systematically, coaching-wise, philosophically, effort demand-wise? Was that on the coaching staff that you just fired? Or was that on the players? There's got to be a little bit of a decision here that's made on, if you just fired this coach that was ranked 30th in the league defensively, do you believe he was the reason you're 30th defensively, or do you believe your players were the reason you were 30th defensively, or somewhere in between? But a little bit of that decision has to be made here. Another Zach question. Cleveland under new GM, what are the chances the Jazz could put together a package for Kyrie? He's a free agent pretty soon, isn't he? Or you just give him the max? You keep him, max him out? It's interesting. And then they draft 1 and 5. And they start their rebuild. It's interesting. I am not totally in love with Kyrie, but I like that idea. Someone's got to get into Kyrie and make him play the game right. He's not doing that. Roger Bracy, do you think the Magic would trade up to 3 for their man Exum, in the process giving up the 12th pick to the Sixers fan? So you're swapping 3 and 4 and getting 12? I will promise you this: the Sixers will make it seem like they're going to take Dante Exum to see if he might do that. Good game of chicken going to go on there. What happens if? Now here's the question: what happens if Exum is our guy? Sixer fan, would you take 5 and 23 to get us to 3? Or let's say Jabari's our guy, and Embiid goes 1 and Wiggins goes 2, and you're at 3, Sixer fan, and we offer you 5 and Cantor. Are you giving us 3? If we offer you 5 and Burks, are you giving us 3? If we offer you 5 and 23, are you giving us 3? If we offer you 5 and our 2017 Warriors first round pick, are you giving us 3? If we offer you 5 and next year's number 1, are you giving us 3? And which of those moves, if you were a Jazz fan, would you be willing to do? Riley Maxfield asks, what was your reaction when you found out the order? I was coaching a Little League game. Ron Boone, who is the classiest person on the earth, came to see my daughter play in her Little League game. Is that like the best thing ever? Can you be a better dude? So Ron Boone came to watch my 9-year-old daughter who loves him to death. They are so sweet together. He's beautiful to her. They just have this great, wonderful bond that she comes to games just to see Mr. Boone. And they're just tight as can be, and just he came to see your game. So that's the sweetest thing. So he was up there, so I was getting reports from him. I think, my reaction was, dang it. Well, Ron wasn't getting it at first, and so it was taking a long time. So I got my hopes up for a second because I didn't know how long it should take. I didn't really know what time was, but it felt like it was taking too long. So I was like, maybe. And then I got told it was 5, and I was, yeah, well, that's what it was going to be. I mean, that's kind of what I thought it was going to be the whole time. Jason Lamb. Which position is weaker, Trey or Ennis? Oh, I don't know if I can answer that question as it's phrased. I don't think either's weak. I mean, I think Trey has things he does really well and things he doesn't do well. One thing Trey does not do, he's not physically strong. He's not going to the rack, right? I think, was the 3rd lowest score shooter inside the restricted area in the NBA last year. I think that's right, or somewhere in that. But he's a good shooter. He's a pull-up. He's beginning to see the floor. He's playing with teammates. He doesn't turn the corner great. This is no different than when we drafted him. He's not explosive and he's small, so he's not going to finish at the rim. So what's interesting is that Marcus Smart complements him. Then you end up, but he can't shoot. I mean, if you put Marcus Smart and Trey Burke together, then you really got something special. But that's not always a great way to build a team. That your pieces, you just need one of them actually that does all of it, not just some of them. If the Jazz draft Gordon or Randall, do you think those guys can match up with Favors or Cantor better? How quickly would the Jazz move one of them? The issue on Ennis is whether he can ever defend. He'll be able to score in this league. Ennis will score 20 points in the league. I think he'll stretch out with a new coach and shoot threes. He's got great touch on it. He's got a post game. I think Ennis can be a really fabulous offensive player. I mean, Ennis and Rudy might match very well together. We become ungodly slow, though, in some capacity. I think what's interesting about Gordon is he can play the 3. Now, he can't shoot, so can he really play the 3, right? But if Cantor were to stretch out as a 5, Gordon probably – and Gordon, I'm talking about Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon probably needs to play with a stretch 4 or 5 so he can move. His game is going to be activity and movement and roaming and some one-on-one play until he can shoot. I've watched Aaron Gordon probably more than any college player because I watched some Pac-12, not very rarely, watched Stanford, and because I fell in love with him in a game or two, and so then I went back and watched him. I'll tell you what, I like the Powell kid out of Stanford as our 2nd-round draft pick. 6'10", 6'11", senior, mature, good shooter on the outside, plays the game perfectly, nice ball mover. I want some guys who can pass, by the way. I want bigs who can pass. We need passers. I know, it's so boring. We don't need passers. Thank you, Justin. Let's go to James Hansen. If we had Smart at a point guard, Favors at a 4, Burks at a 2, wouldn't Burks and Smart live at the free throw line, love the fire and intensity of Smart also? Yeah, I mean, I think we'd be really special in that regard. You add a few shooters. If those guys can pass, you'd definitely be, going to the basket an awful lot. Though I got to look this up, because I made this comment earlier and then I quivered that I was wrong. So give me 1 second here. My memory, though, is that when Alex started getting the ball more last year, that his trips to the line went way down. So give me 1 second. I'm probably not going to the fastest way for me to find this. I'm certainly not, since I'm scanning through every B of a player who's ever played in the history of the game right now. And when second letter's U, that's not the smartest way to do something. Probably would have been really a lot better if I would have just plugged it in, or frankly, I should just have all of our players saved under a folder. Per 36 minutes last year, Alec overall free throws went up to 6.1 per game. So I am wrong on that. Why do I have that memory? Maybe they slid and then I kind of said that earlier and then realized I was wrong. So, I mean, yeah, 6.1 free throws a lot. Marcus Smart statistically comes out, despite his shooting percentages, very high on most of the analytic charts as a player. Alec. Oh, okay. Yeah. In February, Alec took 81 free throws in 12 games. So that comes out to an awesome nearly 7 a game. In March, Alec took 57 free throws in 13 games, and it dropped to 4.3. And in April, he dropped to 4.8 a game. So I didn't make that up. He went from 7 down to 4 a game in March and April. So I still think that is yet to be determined. Ton of questions coming in today. I don't mind the 5th pick, says Billy Murphy. Why don't we keep it and try to get a couple of 12 to 20 picks? Well, I don't think you want a couple. And at some point, we got to make sure we don't end up with, 8 brand new young players. We already, if we just go into next season, guys, let's just imagine this for a second. Let's say we just draft our players. We don't, and we don't. Our second pick is a player that's ready to play, not a European that's going to be stashed. There's somebody's mock draft had an interesting guy going a few picks before us that was European, that you would stash. But even if, let's go with, what do you want? King Jackson, go to the chat room. Give me 2 players, first round, second round draft pick, or two first round draft picks. Give me, for the sake of discussion, give me 2 players in the chat room. Throw me 2 names. All right, he's not reacting. Angie, Travis, somebody, give me 2 names. Let's go with, we draft Marcus Smart and Adrian Payne. Okay. Aaron Gordon and Adrian Payne is what he wants. Okay. All right, well, then we have Trey Burke, Alec Burks, Gordon Hayward, Aaron Gordon, Derek Favors, Enes Kanter, Rudy Gobert, Adrian Payne. That's 8 players. We have our second round draft pick. That's 9 players. We have a backup point guard. That's 10. We're done. That's our roster. We don't win a lot of games that way, by the way, either. I don't know how we deal with that. If we drafted Vonleh, could Favors play center position for years to come, and how would that combo benefit us? I need to watch Vonleh. I've seen none of him. Never seen him play in my life. If he's a stretch 4 Chris Bosh, that would be a pretty interesting athletic piece. We would need, the question is whether Favors at 6'10" is tall enough to be your center. Gobert then becomes pretty valuable, maybe. Would you rather have Enes or Gordon, Vonleh, Randall, or is Randall just more aggressive for Enes? I mean, Jason, this is the essence of the question. We get so obsessed with getting to one of these guys, and you talk about trading Ennis, who's going to average 20 points a game in this league. Is he going to be a good enough defender to win? We better be careful. We don't get so obsessed with this draft that we suddenly go trade Ennis Cantor just to go get what? Let's make sure it matches. Now, if it's Jabari in the third pick, might worth it. If you're Philadelphia and you really like Marcus Smart, Aaron Gordon, Julius Randle, well, if you like Julius Randle, you don't want Ennis Cantor. Let's say you really like Aaron Gordon or Marcus Smart. Would you take Ennis Cantor and Marcus Smart for Jabari Parker? I don't know. I don't think you're doing that, are you? Marcus Smart and Ennis Cantor for Andrew Wiggins? Someone better have fallen in love with Marcus Smart or Aaron Gordon at that 5 spot for us to get away with that. Final question, Justin Brown, any word on Raul Neto? He's playing. He broke his hand recently, so he hasn't played in a little while. I think he could come to the U.S., but here's a thought. I made this up. Probably shouldn't say this, but I made this up. Okay? Here's the problem to me for Neto. He and Trey are the exact same size. Okay, they're the exact same size. They're both undersized. Neto is in Europe, becoming better. You draft Marcus Smart. If time comes where Marcus Smart becomes a viable point guard, you move Trey, then Neto flies back in underneath. Right? That becomes a pretty valuable insurance policy to have back there if that day ever comes. But right now, I don't think in this league, I mean, the Clippers are doing it. Can you have 2 6-feet-tall point guards? That's the issue probably a little bit on Neto. Let him continue to develop and see if the roster opens up in a way that complements him more than it does right now. All right, that wraps it up. Thank you. King, it was nice to finally see something other than your Jazz sweatshirt. Everybody else just stationary people listening on the bottom of the tip-off. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good one.